Monica Dolan I stopped reading reviews when one said I was kittenish. Stage The Guardian. The award-winning actor and writer on All About Eve, Celebrity Culture, and the Perils of Not Actually Being Welsh. The award-winning actor and writer on All About Eve, Celebrity Culture, and the Perils of Not Actually Being Welsh is a BAFTA-winning actor and writer. Born in Middlesbrough, what does All About Eve say to you about female rivalry and ambition? When your ambition depends on someone else's approval, that can be a dangerous thing. You can see the sides. Do you see a lot of ageism in the industry? I am sure I have lost some jobs because of my looks and age, but I am sure I've got some jobs because of them. My career doesn't. What do you think of celebrity culture now compared to the time in which All About Eve was written, first as a short story in 1946, then a film in 1950? It is absolutely undeniable that Margot and Eve are talented. Nowadays, you did a very good Welsh accent in W1A, and in this play your character is American. What are the difficulties? You played Rosemary West in a TV drama. How do you gear up? Who were the performers you admired most growing up? Victoria Wood, Joyce Grenfell, Peter Ustinov, Dave Allen. I have been told your family was all into the sciences, but you ended up in the arts. One of my sisters actually studied English at university, but the rest of them were into science and maths. My mum did botany. Are you affected by what the critics write about you? I never read reviews. I read my last. Your parents were Irish. Has this part of you wrote a one-woman play, B****, about the sexualization of children, and premiered it at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in 2017. What led you to write it? Is playing at London's End divided by El Coward Theatre until May 11th. Before you post, we'd like to thank you for joining the debate. We're glad you've chosen to participate, and we value your opinions and experiences. Please choose your username under which you would like all your comments to show up. You can only set. Please keep your posts respectful and abide by the end. If you spot a comment you think doesn't adhere to the guidelines, please use the report link next to it to let us know. Please preview your comment below and click post when you're happy with it.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.